Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome inside Phoenix's Footprint Center. We are live inside the Snake Pit tonight for the Wranglers and the Northern Arizona Wranglers. James Poofy coming to you live here alongside my broadcast partner, Mr. Ed Cole. Ed, we got a good one on tap here tonight, my friend. We got some entertainment here, even pregame on the field at the Footprint Center. It's an exciting environment here tonight.
James, what the Rattlers do as far as the production is second to none. What they do, the Footprint Center itself is a magnificent edifice. This is a phenomenal building. They spent $250 million renovating this building, so you can see where the money went. And the Rattlers are taking full advantage of the home field advantage that they have in this beautiful building. But the Northern Arizona Wranglers, 11-2, a half game ahead of the Rattlers. They're looking to come in here and spoil the party that the Rattlers are looking to have by coming out and beating the Northern Arizona Wranglers and tying it up for first place in the Western Conference.
Well, it is a tremendous atmosphere in here, to say the least, Ed. So glad to join us here this evening on the Northern Arizona Wranglers YouTube channel. We're also coming to you this evening on Twitter as well as the Facebook page. A great battle in here tonight, Ed. What's on the line tonight for the Northern Arizona Wranglers is clinching home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
A victory tonight over these Arizona Rattlers will put them to 12-2. And they would, of course, win the season series 2-0. We all remember what happened 3 weeks ago. JP is going to run the highlights in a minute. But what happened 3 weeks ago up in Prescott Valley, the 37-34 comeback victory for the Northern Arizona Wranglers to clinch, at least take first place on that evening and never relinquish first place. That was a phenomenal game. So I am looking for a game that's similar to that. I'm hoping it's another barn burner like it was 3 weeks ago, JP. If it is, we are in for a treat tonight, folks.
Well, once again, it's a matchup for the ages. You got the number one offense squaring off against the number one defense in the Indoor Football League, and you really can't ask for much more than that, Ed, here as we approach the playoff season, and we're really getting towards that playoff season here. We've already confirmed the first home playoff game is going to be on July 23rd. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the pregame show, but it's time to put up or shut up right now here as we approach the playoff time.
Absolutely. We are in week 17. Of course, the banner on the Go IFL's website is for who's the best in the West. So we will find out in a matter of hours should the Wranglers go ahead and get this victory as we check out the highlights from the game 3 weeks ago up in Prescott Valley. The Northern Arizona Wranglers get that 37-34 victory. JP, we knew it was going to be that kind of a game, a seesaw battle, a war, because both of those teams knew what was on the line that very evening, but the Wranglers were able to do what was possible. Look at Meek Watkins with that great return on the kickoff, setting them up in great field position. And here we go. We'll see Caleb Barker, who will be in the starting lineup again tonight, folks. So he's back in the starting lineup. He throws a touchdown right there. Who was that to? That was
Ulis Gillard. Yes, indeed. And
Yep.
You mentioned it. Caleb Barker back in the lineup tonight for the Northern Arizona Wranglers. The last time he was on the field was against this very same Arizona Rattlers team 3 weeks ago in Prescott Valley, and they are glad to have him back. We're going to see what he's got up his sleeve tonight for these Rattlers. And this defense as well, Ed, what can we say about these guys? The front, the back end coverage is always pristine, and they just continue to get it done. And then the offense is just getting it done. You see Jeremy Neal right there. So many weapons available for this offense.
Of course, offense, defense. You mentioned the defense. Let's go back to the defense. What they did 3 weeks ago, James, they forced 6 fumbles. The Rattlers hardly ever do that in one game. Six fumbles that they lost 3 of them. And of course, that's one of the plays right there. Here's going to be one of the fumbles right here by Drew Powell. That's the game-saving sack, the game-clinching sack from Uric Jones. But the defense was maniacal that night. They gave up 156 yards. That's about 100 yards less than what they're averaging on a nightly basis, the Arizona Rattlers. So the defense will have to come up huge like they did 3 weeks ago. And, of course, we mentioned Caleb Barker back in the starting lineup. So that should rejuvenate him, knowing he's back in and their QB number one, the number one field general, is back in the house tonight.
You always hear it, Ed. You want to be peaking at just the right time as you go into the playoffs. And I really feel like, especially with Caleb Barker back tonight, we're going to get him back into the offense this evening and really have this team clicking on all cylinders tonight.
Yes, because Caleb has been playing his tail off all season long, playing at an MVP-type level, and he's going to have an MVP-type performance tonight against the league's reigning MVP, the league's leading passer, Drew Powell. We know how deadly and dominant he is. He's got 39 touchdowns on the season, almost 2,000 yards passing to lead this league and passing. So the defense is going to have another one of those special nights that they did 3 weeks ago when they sacked him 4 times. And again, they forced 3 turnovers off of 6 fumbles.
The atmosphere in here tonight is completely electric. People still continuing to pour into the building here inside the Footprint Center tonight. We're going to take a short time out here on the Northern Arizona Wranglers pregame show, and we'll come back and take a look at the action from last Saturday night inside the FTC against those very tough Duke City Gladiators. That was a matchup for the ages, and the Wranglers held on by a thread there, Ed. We were looking at each other in the booth toward the end of the ballgame. There was under a minute to go, and that thing was still not decided.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look back at that here in a moment. We'll step aside, take a short timeout, and come right back here for more pregame action from inside Phoenix's Footprint Center right after this.
That's funny. Desert Schools changed their name.
Yeah, now it's Desert Financial.
Alice Cooper! Wait, what are you doing here?
I'm telling everyone, school's out.
For summer?
Forever.
Whoa! Whoa!
Dude, put your card in.
You got a voice, Molly. Use it. Do it for the phone.
Let's do it for the phone. They do so much for you. When I'm out there all alone, there's something we can do. T-Mobile, look at these apps, they don't lie. And faster speed nationwide. Let's do it for the phone.
Folks, welcome back to the Footprint Center, downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Ed Cole, James Poovey, your Northern Arizona Wranglers broadcast team. We are here for Wranglers and Rattlers, Part 2, 11-2 versus 11-3. This is for first place and home field advantage in the Western Conference playoffs. As you see, the Northern Arizona Wranglers take the football field in their all-whites. What a great look, JP. This is going to be a phenomenal game. But, folks, let's look back at what happened just a week ago up in Prescott Valley. How the Northern Arizona Wranglers were down 15 points in the fourth quarter, scored 23 straight points to rally past the Duke City Gladiators, 49-41. Jeremy Neal with a touchdown right there. JP, what an incredible rally. Just what Gerard Evans and his start, a pressure-filled situation. He's QB1. It's his first start with the Wranglers. It took him a little time to get into a rhythm, JP, but once he got into that field and he got comfortable and he really got into what he was going to do offensively, he took off.
He was a very impressive player last week for this Northern Arizona Wranglers ball club. Gerard Evans, I give him all the credit in the world. He came into a very tough situation, wanted to keep the momentum going for this ball club, and that's exactly what he did in a hard-fought ball game last week, Ed. It was a nail-biter all the way down to the end, but what I said last week still holds true. This team just continues to battle. They don't get rattled. They stay calm, and the coaching staff is able to coach these guys up in a way that allows them to stay calm and continue to battle throughout the entire ball game and use all 60 minutes if necessary to come out with a victory.
It's incredible what Coach Moss and Coach Keefe and Coach Windsor and Coach Moran, what they do as a collective unit, regardless of whatever the situation is. If you've got a starting quarterback who's suspended for a week, you bring in Gerard Evans and you just plug and play him in, and it takes him a while to get into the feel of the game, but he takes off and he looks just like Caleb as far as the production goes. And then what can we say defensively and special teams? Last week, JP, they had 3 onside kicks that they recovered last week. How big was that for Brandon Fisher? Didn't have the best game from a kicking standpoint, field goal wise, but when it came down to that explosion, folks, that was the explosion in the fourth quarter. It was kind of like that, wasn't it, JP?
It was indeed, and the fireworks are just beginning here tonight inside the Footprint Center on a very festive 4th of July weekend. We're so glad you joined us here on the pregame show. We are extremely excited for this matchup here tonight, and we're about ready to get things going. We're a little bit more than 10 minutes away from kickoff here inside the Footprint Center, and the Rattlers are currently taking the field. It's going to be a great one here, Ed. The fireworks, as you can see, going off behind us, and this is going to be a fantastic matchup. The number one offense against the number one defense, and it's going to be smashing out football.
Oh, it absolutely is. It is going to be an absolute war, just like it was 3 weeks ago. Both of these teams know the ultimate significance of this game as we're in week 17. There's only a few more weeks left in the season before we kick off the Indoor Football League playoffs. Both of these teams will host a playoff game because they're the 1 and 2 seeds. But the question is, who's going to be the number 1 seed when the dust settles? And tonight will be a great indication of who will ultimately come out as the number 1 seed in a couple of weeks.
And make no mistake, this game here tonight, Ed, could very well take all 60 minutes to decide here for the right to host the home field advantage in the IFL playoffs, which is huge if you think about it, especially for a second-year ball club like Northern Arizona.
It is, and of course, JP, you mentioned we do know that the July 23rd will be the first home game for the Northern Arizona Wranglers. We don't know who they'll host, but we do know 6:05, July 23rd, at the Pinnacle Bank Field at Finley Toyota Center, there will be a home playoff game, and we will see who it will be. Will it be Tucson? Will it be Duke City? As we look at the rankings of these two football teams, there's a lot of ones there, JP.
There are a lot of ones. You see the scoring defense for the Wranglers, number 1 in the IFL, 5th in scoring offense, number 1 in defensive yards allowed, meaning the least defensive yards allowed. Defensive sacks, they're number 1 ranked in that category. And then on third down, they're number 1 in getting off the field.
We talked about the 4 sacks that they had on Drew Powell 3 weeks ago. They're gonna have to put that kind of pressure on Drew tonight because he's very comfortable. Of course, any quarterback is comfortable in their own building, JP, as we get ready for the national anthem.
We're going to turn our attention down to the field level for tonight's national anthem.
What's so proudly here at those twilights sleep, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous sky, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the
An outstanding rendition of our national anthem. A quick shout out to all the folks joining us tonight from the road game watch party there at the Hideout Bar in Prescott Valley. We hope you're enjoying tonight's contest, getting ready to get things going here inside the Footprint Center here in Phoenix. Any final thoughts, Ed, as we get ready for kickoff here, about 5 minutes away, and then we encourage you to get on over to the Indoor Football League YouTube channel for the call.
Yeah, really quick, we got to wrap this thing up. Just play their brand of football. The Northern Arizona Wranglers know what they need to do on defense, offense, special teams. So make it a complete effort. Try to limit their mistakes. Convert on third downs. Every possession that you get, take full advantage of it.
Absolutely, and any mistakes made by the other team also have to be taken full advantage of here as well, because both these teams with solid marks coming into tonight's contest. 11-2 overall for our Wranglers, and 11-3 right on our heels are those Arizona Rattlers. Everybody enjoy the game. Get yourselves over to the Indoor Football League YouTube channel, and Mr. Floyd Simmons and Cedric Bonner will have the call there for the Arizona Rattlers. Have a great night. Stay with us and come on back here to the Wranglers YouTube channel at halftime. We'll be right back here inside the Footprint Center. Stay with us. Enjoy the game.
Go Wranglers.